Have you ever felt hurt by someone's words? Like a well-aimed arrow, a cruel phrase can pierce the heart and leave a deep wound in the soul. And have you ever wondered how you should behave when someone has hurt you? Should you respond with the same coin, fueling a vicious cycle of anger and resentment? Or perhaps you should take the blow, feigning indifference while inside you the pain burns like fire. Buddhist wisdom offers us a third way, a path of peace and compassion that allows us to transform poison into medicine. In this video, we will take you on a spiritual journey to discover ancient teachings that will help you protect your heart from hurtful words and find inner peace, even in the face of adversity. We will listen together to the story of Elizabeth, a woman tormented by the cruel words of her boss, and discover how a simple sieve can become a tool of healing and liberation. We will explore 7 signs that indicate that a relationship is poisoning our soul, and we will learn to recognize the people who hurt us. And if you stay until the end of the video, we will reveal a precious secret to you, an ancient Buddhist technique to transform negative emotions into positive energy. Prepare to embark on a journey of inner transformation, a path of growth and awareness that will lead you to peace and serenity. But before continuing, if you are not one of us yet, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to stay updated. The scent of juniper and Scots pine mingled with the aroma of incense, creating an atmosphere of peace and contemplation in the small mountain temple. The rays of the sun, filtering through the rice paper windows, drew delicate plays of light on the wooden floor worn by time. Kenzo, the venerable monk with skin marked by the years and eyes that shone with an age-old wisdom, sat in the lotus position, surrounded by a group of pilgrims who had come up there in search of comfort and guidance. Among them, a young woman named Akiko, her face marked by pain and her eyes swollen with tears, came forward timidly. "Master Kenzo," she whispered, her voice broken by emotion, "my life is shrouded in shadow. My husband despises me. His words are like stones that scratch my soul day after day. I feel humiliated, empty, worthless. I don't know how to bear this pain anymore." Kenzo looked at her with deep compassion, his eyes dark as night reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. "Dear Akiko," he said in a soft, reassuring voice, "your pain touches my heart. But know that even in the darkest nights, the wisdom of the Buddha can show us the way." He paused, then with a gentle gesture invited the woman to sit beside him. "Let me tell you a story," he continued, "an ancient story that has been passed down from generation to generation, the story of a woman named Elizabeth, who, like you, was a prisoner of unspeakable suffering." And so Kenzo began his tale, taking the pilgrims on a journey through time and space. Elizabeth was a strong and courageous woman, but her boss, a dry and ruthless man, tormented her with incessant criticism and public humiliation. Every day, Elizabeth went to work with a heavy heart, fearing the arrival of new insults. Her boss's words, like poisoned darts, tore at her soul, making her feel inadequate, incapable, unworthy of love. Her life had become a hell, a tunnel without light. Desperate, Elizabeth decided to seek help in an ancient Buddhist monastery, perched on a rugged peak. After days of walking, she came across Master Kuroshi, a monk with a beard as white as snow and eyes as deep as the sky. "Master," Elizabeth begged in a trembling voice, "please help me. My boss is destroying me. I can't live like this anymore." Kuroshi listened to her attentively then, with an enigmatic smile, turned to a young novice. "Bring me the medium sieve," he said in a calm voice. Elizabeth was speechless. What could a sieve have to do with her suffering? The novice returned shortly after with a sieve in his hand, one of those used by gold prospectors to separate nuggets from river sand. Kuroshi handed it to Elizabeth and said, "Keep it under your pillow for 3 nights, then come back to me." Elizabeth, confused but trusting, accepted the enigmatic advice. She spent 3 sleepless nights with that sieve under her pillow, tossing and turning, her thoughts racing. What did the master want to tell her? What secret was hidden behind that symbolic gesture? On the 3rd day, Elizabeth returned to the monastery, her heart full of questions. "Master," she asked anxiously, "what is the meaning of all this?" Kuroshi smiled. "The sieve is to keep you from forgetting what you have to do," he replied. "When someone insults you, your mind is like a sponge that absorbs everything, the sweet and the bitter. But you must learn to filter, to retain only what is precious, as the sieve does with gold. Let the offensive words slip away like water through the mesh of the sieve." Elizabeth was struck by that simple truth. She had never thought of it before. Kuroshi continued, "Imagine a gold prospector who, after a day's work, finds his sieve full of sand and stones. Would he despair? No, of course not. He would shake the sieve patiently until only the gold nuggets remained. In the same way, you must learn to shake off negative words, not to let themselves be contaminated by their poison. Concentrate on the good in your life, on the people who love you, on your qualities." And with a last compassionate look, he concluded, "Remember, Elizabeth, when they throw mud at you, look for the gold and the mud will disappear." Kenzo paused, letting the words of the monk Kuroshi resonate in the souls of the pilgrims. Then he continued in a calm voice, "Elizabeth's story teaches us a precious lesson. We must not allow the negative words of others to hurt us. We must learn to discern, to filter, to protect our hearts." "But how can we recognize when they are treating us badly?" asked a man among the pilgrims, his face marked with concern. "There are 7 signs," Kenzo replied, 7 warning bells that indicate that a relationship is poisoning our soul." And with a clear and authoritative voice, Kenzo listed the 7 points. Feelings of inadequacy. If you constantly feel devalued, criticized, incapable of doing anything well, if other people's words make you doubt your value, if you always feel inferior, it is a clear sign that you are in a toxic relationship. People who love you support you, encourage you, help you grow. They do not make you feel small and insignificant. They push you to believe in yourself, to make your dreams come true. They do not put a spoke in your wheels, but they give you a hand. Destructive criticism. Criticism, if done with love and with the intent to help, can be constructive. But if it is continuous, offensive, aimed at demolishing your self-esteem, if it makes you feel wrong, guilty, a burden, then it is poison to your soul. Learn to distinguish between those who love you and those who enjoy seeing you suffer. Those who love you correct you with sweetness. Those who wish you harm hurt you with cruelty. Ignored needs. In a healthy relationship, both partners' needs are heard and respected. There is a reciprocal exchange, a give and take. If your needs are consistently ignored, if you feel invisible, neglected, unconsidered, if your requests are systematically disregarded, if you feel lonely even when you are in company, then it is time to ask yourself if it is worth continuing to invest in that relationship. Manipulation and exploitation. Beware of people who use you for their own purposes, who manipulate you with subtle emotional blackmail. who take advantage of your generosity, your kindness, your availability. They are like vampires who suck your vital energy, leaving you empty and exhausted. Remember that love is not selfishness, but sharing and mutual respect. Those who love you value you, they do not exploit you. Verbal or physical aggression, any form of violence, verbal or physical, is unacceptable. No one has the right to hurt you, neither with words nor with actions. If you find yourself in a situation like this, ask for help. You are not alone. There are people who can help you, who can offer you a safe haven. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. It is a sign of strength, not weakness. Exclusion and isolation. Being excluded, ignored, isolated from the group is a subtle form of abuse, a slow agony that consumes the soul. You feel like a ghost, invisible to the eyes of others, excluded from games, from laughter, from conversations. The people who love you include you, make you feel part of something, welcome you warmly. They don't leave you alone in the cold. They don't make you feel like a stranger in the crowd. They seek you out. They invite you. They involve you. They make you feel important, appreciated, loved. Exclusion can manifest itself in different ways. It can be a friend who organizes a party and forgets to invite you, a group of colleagues who go to lunch together and don't tell you, a family who gathers for dinner and doesn't include you. Small gestures, apparently insignificant, that can hurt deeply. If you constantly feel excluded, if you have the feeling of not being wanted, if you feel like you're a burden to others, it's time to reevaluate your relationships. You deserve to be with people who look for you, who appreciate you, who make you feel part of something. Judgment and control. If you feel constantly judged, criticized, controlled in your every action, if you feel suffocated, imprisoned in a golden cage, your freedom is suffocated. In a healthy relationship, there is room for individuality, for personal growth, for respect for differences. Everyone has the right to be themselves, to follow their own path, to make their own choices. Those who love you leave you free to fly, to explore, to experiment. They do not judge you, do not criticize you, do not control you. They accept you for who you are, with your strengths and weaknesses. Control can manifest itself in different ways. It can be a jealous partner who prevents you from seeing your friends, an overprotective parent who smothers you with attention, a friend who always wants to have the last word. If you feel oppressed, manipulated, forced to do things you don't want to do, it's time to free yourself from these chains. You deserve to live an authentic life, free from conditioning and constraints. Kenzo concluded his speech with an invitation to reflect. Each of us deserves to be loved and respected. Don't settle for relationships that make you suffer. Have the courage to seek happiness, to surround yourself with people who nourish your soul, who make you feel alive. Remember the story of Elizabeth and the sieve. Learn to filter negative words, not to let yourself be contaminated by their poison. Focus on the good in your life, on the people who love you, on your qualities. And never forget, you are precious, unique, unrepeatable. The pilgrims, moved by the Master's words, left the temple with hearts full of gratitude. Kenzo's 7 pearls of wisdom shone in their minds, guiding them towards a future of peace and serenity. Akiko, in particular, felt a new sense of hope sprouting in her heart. Kenzo's words had given her the strength to react, to take control of her life again. She knew that the path would be long and difficult, but now she had the tools to face it. She had the sieve of wisdom, and with it she would filter the negative words, retaining only the gold.